Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer Tournament. We've got a gem here today in week 2, a possible deep bracket match on tap here between MidiguyDP and Highflyer28. Two outstanding players, both 2-0, both going head-to-head, and which should be a very entertaining match. And I'm Pro8007, very happy to be joining you here today. And with me on the mic today is our two-time defending champion, Danny P. Speed. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Yeah, really good and exciting matchup we got here. We got a runner-up from last year, and Midiguy has gotten third once or twice. I think twice at this point.
I think twice. Yeah, yeah. One of them was against me in 2022.
Yep. So two runners that can definitely they have the ability to win it all. Expecting could go either way at this point. So that's what you love to see in these matchups, and it's a very nice treat to get early on in Swiss.
Definitely, and both players have fairly different styles of play as well. Flyer is more of a gambler, and Midiguy is a more, I think, overall consistent player. So we'll see if what effect that will have on how the things turn out.
Yeah, I don't even know at this point. I think they're both kind of wild cards in some of the decisions they make. So could see some fireworks.
Yeah.
Yep. As far as the flags go, similar to tourneys past, hammers break locks, but we do have several changes with the deluxe version of Max Patcher, some various quality of life changes, hammers break locks. We'll try to call them out as they come up.
Yeah, and all the levels are now in play. We've added 9 extra tiles, and they'll be sprinkled in liberally throughout the worlds. So our runners, among other things, we'll see how they handle that kind of that thing as far as making sure they keep an eye on their tiles, particularly as we get down the stretch. And locks, hammers break locks. Locks are now going to be on the final screen leading to Bowser, so that will inform their strategies.
Yeah. This is going to go behind the lock, right?
Yeah. Naturally.
Yeah. Well, I like this start when I'm a viewer. They got to play 4 levels before they can do anything. Takes the double hammer play out of it. I think Flyer is probably a little more aggressive in some of his P-speed strats, but Midi obviously no slouch either.
Right. Yeah, 7-3, a nice quick level to lead off with, but does require some fairly precise movement, and our runners both having no trouble. Flyer the first one out. And here we go. So we got 2 locks right off the bat, so we know for sure this is at least a 2-forter. 3, we'll see. But they're going to have to. They're going to be going through it, and Flyer showing off the wall clip, and Midi right behind him. So that is, I believe, a 1-frame window as Small Mario.
I think it's 3 is small. It's 1 frame when you're big, but it's still not the easiest. Yeah, not the easiest trick to pull off, and they both did it very, very easily. So color me impressed.
Yeah, that's very good, and that's going to be one of the hallmarks of some of our top runners in this tournament. Is they're going to be able to do things like this, if not first try, then pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked how many times you have before you start losing time, but I imagine you have quite a few attempts before you start losing time over playing the entire level. So
right. I think it's like 20 or so in 7-1, but that's with a good enemy set in 7-1. 7-1 can be brutal inside.
Yeah.
So we've had a smattering of World 6 and 7 stages, both regular and vanilla so far. We've got a couple of giant Hammer Bros. Ooh, Midi kind of taking an unconventional approach here, and now he's in a bit of a bind, and there, down he goes. Oof.
I was gonna say the path to the castle should be open unless it's 3 forts, but it does look like it's only 2.
Yeah.
Gonna be looking for hammers when they break locks, especially with that's nasty coin chip. There's a change. The bros are no longer vanilla in the coin ships. They can be, any of the bros. And there we see 2 fire bros. That can be kind of tricky to get out of.
Yeah, so not quite as free as it used to be. And our first fort is 5F1. Midi takes care of the double fire bros and we'll get his clouds. So clouds are going to have a more strategic use as well as the hammers throughout this. Because with the extra tiles, particularly with World 8, you can be a little more choosy on how you want to use them.
Yeah, I'd say a good rule of thumb in general used to be, if you're skipping at least 2 levels,
yeah,
it's usually a pretty good hammer use. But now, I mean, with that World 8 looming, and depending on the situation, you might be worth it just to play the 2 levels. So
yeah, and we got about a 1-stage difference between our runners right now. As Flyer will be the first to get to the airship after playing 6 stages. And one change that has been made is while the airships are randomized, now the Koopa Kids are as well. So Wendy is not a given here.
Yep, we used to know exactly that this Koopa Kid would be Wendy, and obviously we see that it is Larry, and he's heavy. And a full 5 hits, it looks like.
Flyer had a bit of an awkward jump there, but managed to pull through. The other thing worth noting is we do the cutscene skip now, so it's actually good to jump.
Yeah, I still miss it sometimes.
Yeah, it can be an awkward jump for sure. Midi, with Fire Mario, shaves some time not having to do the 5 hits.
Yeah, really, really good good fire kill there. Can be kind of, I usually don't go for it a lot of times when they're thick, just because if you get stun locked, that's not a place you want to be at all.
No. World 5 airship is actually not too bad, and that was a hammer suit that Toadstool gave them, so that's good to see.
Yep, probably be seeing them save that for Bowser. However, if you get another one, it is another flag change that the hammers will kill the Koopa Kids, and it kills them about as fast as it kills Bowser, so it does save a pretty good chunk of time for you able to carry one for a while.
Especially if you get an arena like, say, World 2, where they're actually above you, that's a pretty easy hammer kill.
Yeah.
So we have a Force Tower here in World 5. We still have not randomized this, and probably never will, but some things never change.
Great P-speed by Highflyer so far through the tower. Seeing that vanilla skill set shining through.
Yeah. Both players, I believe, are 52s in Warpless. Flyer, I'm pretty sure, is. I think Midi is as well.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know MidiguyDP speed ran the vanilla.
Oh, well, that's an unfortunate. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure he at least did for a while. And we have the World 1 airship. So Flyer, recognizing that this is a free item, took the 100-coin fine.
Yep, he's not even going to bother checking the power-ups. He knows he has a leaf. And now he has a backup for Fort Knox, if and when it shows itself.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. 6F1. Love a star there. Pretty tricky jump. Pretty tricky series of jumps there you have to make, but definitely saves a ton of time there when it's a star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely one of those little optimizations that you can really take advantage of.
Couple of stars for MidiguyDP, so
Yeah,
Flyer going to save a little bit of time there, and is
Yeah.
up a P-wing.
Okay, I did look it up. Flyer is a 5205 in warpless, and MIDI is a 5440.
Okay. Speaking of looking things up, there is a stat sheet that we can look up in between, because these guys have faced each other. I don't know about head-to-head, but I know they've been in a lot of races together.
Yeah. So yeah, so World 2, it was just a one-hitter quitter for Flyer. Tried to kind of finagle his way to it, but didn't quite get it. But still a very quick World 5 there for him.
Yep, Flyer looking really strong so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the death by MidiguyDP has put him about a stage and a half, 2 stages behind right now, as we enter World 6 with Navy kicking things off. Another 2-forter for sure.
Flyer apparently changing his ways, saving Bob now. Two F for Flyer. Took the damage boost early. Gets the tail back. Probably see him do it again here in the spike area.
Maybe. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So this when we talk about routing in SMB3 or Rando, we always talk about playing the fort that's in your path. The Navy is naturally. But the split between the level and the fort, when you can't see the rest of the world, there's really no reason to play that level over the fort.
Yeah, no. It's the forts, there's 17 forts, and you're really working to get as many of those, and it is a triple forter.
Okay. So, interesting by Flyer to go ahead and play the fort here.
Yeah.
Played 2 already and hasn't really seen the rest. I would probably look a little bit, but you can also, don't blame him for just getting it out of the way. You don't have to come back no matter what.
I think the lack of visuals is why he did it. I mean, if something, if he had seen anything at this point, and there was that third fort, he, obviously would have rolled the dice, but, and, he's got that pipe right there, so we'll see if this is going to be a gauntlet or if if he's going to work a little bit for it.
Yeah, he used the right power up going into the fort too, though.
Yeah.
The P-wing, so he's really, really, using the right things in the right spot. Let's see what the rest looks like. Okay.
All right. So at the very least, this is a one-stage skip. Yeah. So he'll have to play one more stage after this. Ooh, just missed. for MIDI guy.
All right, here's a potential little bit of a time swing here, depending on how many clips it takes him.
Yeah.
All right, not too bad.
Yeah, he was about a minute back. Okay, so we still don't see anything visually there, and now MIDI has a decision to make, and he is going to play the fourth. So,
Man, I'd still press on. There's a fork at the end that the lock loves to be on and be useless, but you know it could force you into playing 7-5. It loves to be a bridge or a lock at the end as well. So you know, lots of valid arguments for what you do here.
Yeah, yeah. So 6-5, so 7-5 was there, and 5-3.
This is a good cloud spot since you played all the ports.
Yeah, that's better only by comparison.
Yeah,
this is definitely one of the longer stages, and Flyer is just getting beat up here, trying to get through the top half of the stage with Boss Bass at the end.
Pro A rolled this hot garbage, Stewie.
You're welcome. To be fair, I think MIDI kind of jinxed it. Is that he said it'd been a while since he'd had one of my seeds. Like, well, yeah, I haven't really done comms in about a year, so you know, it definitely. It's like anything else. You never forget how.
Yeah. I think, Flyer went for the Pleco jump. Didn't quite get it. I think MIDI did the clip in just a couple less attempts, but not too big of a time save on
no.
On the clips there. He might just take the death since he's going in this small and cloud here, which that's pretty good cloud.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to use it, this is, as you said, this is a pretty good one to use it in. We got Morton, a one-hitter quitter at the end of the World 7 airship. He's out at 1431.
Yeah, MIDI has to get through this, though, first try.
Yeah.
And even more, you know, it's more so it's the World 7 airship, which is by far the longest one. So, but thankfully he's through. It's a one-hitter using the P-wing. All right, good job. Ugh.
So, yeah, and Flyer, I think, makes the correct choice here. See a fort, play a fort. I mean, because you got to play the other level anyways, so you might as well just get this over with.
Yep, for those who might not know, there is always a bridge out in World 4, so you're always going to have, under these flags, you're always going to have to play a fort. So you might as well, I could see the argument of going the other way since the other fort is in the direct path, but...
right, you know, and
but you're going to have to backtrack a lot if it's wrong, so...
Right. All right, so
of course it is.
Of course. So no dice there. So they're gonna have to play this, then play 2 more stages before they can get to the fort. So not the ideal scenario, but yeah, this is definitely one of those things. Like if you're wrong, you know, it's not a huge thing. If you were wrong the other way, it is going to be a problem.
Right. This is another pretty terrible level, in my opinion. This is probably my top 5 least favorite levels. Basically, for all the Paragoombas and this part at the end, sometimes you go through that pipe, there's a blooper there, and there's just like nothing you can do to avoid it.
Yeah. So, but MIDI has done a good job narrowing the gap here. He's less than a stage back now. He's played pretty well, and yeah, but the one thing is, Flyer does have a cloud. MIDI burned it on 5-3.
Yeah, one thing Flyer really doesn't gamble on is his cloud usage. He's very conservative with it. Tends to save him until almost the very bitter end, unless he sees like Atlantis or 5-9 or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've always been of the philosophy. You know, if the route works out pretty well, you know, like especially if there's a hammer bro in the way, I'll just run it through and take it and take the freebie.
Yep. The only bad cloud is the ones left in your inventory at the end of the seed. So as long as you're using it.
Exactly.
And in these flags, much more potential for cloud usage in World 8. So even if you forget, a lot of times there will be levels on the on the final screen that you can use it on.
Right. So we got our second fort into his Air Force. Oops, wrong one. So all the worlds we've seen so far have had multiple forts, so we'll have one more 2-forter, and then between 1, 2, and 7, 2 of them will be 1-forters. So that will be interesting to see how that changes their approach, especially since I don't believe we've had any hammers yet.
Nope, no hammers yet. Just one cloud and a hammer suit. It's basically the... Ooh, Midi had a chance to... There is a P-speed strat in this, believe it or not. If you start with a P-wing and damage boost, it is incredibly tricky. Saves only a couple seconds, but it looks really cool. But
yeah,
I mean, I think Flyer is the only one that really goes for it now, and to his credit, he's gotten pretty close several times of taking it the whole way. So
yeah, we have the World 1 airship now. Pretty straightforward. Gets through it, and we have Wendy. Hi, Wendy. So 1904 at halftime for Flyer. And again, we still have 1, 2, and 7 to play.
Yep, kind of on the slower side.
A little bit,
especially since 1 and 2 can be kind of linear, as we see here when you don't have hammers. Can tend to lend itself to having to play a lot of stages.
To be fair, I don't think we saw the item. I certainly didn't.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, it was pretty quick on the draw, but we got a 40-second difference now between our runners. Again, Cloud used by Midi, not by Flyers, so it's probably close to 70, 75 seconds. But yeah, and with that tile kind of in the way of the boulder, it was just a star.
A lot of stars so far. Flyer, they have not seen 7F1, so he's tending to use his P-wings before he enters forts in hopes that he guesses it right. Always a great feeling when you, as you know, of course, the Pro A special.
Of course, yeah. I did it 4 times in the 23 tournament. So this appears to be a one of our 2 1-forters, so just have to play out the levels here. Midi's going to take the bottom route, another specialty of mine. Give himself that free pop. Oh, got to be careful, these hot feet.
Thankfully, they are the ones that obey.
Yeah. With these flag sets, and I've certainly seen it in the matches I've calmed, but there's definitely more willingness to go for hammer bros right now because they're trolling for those extra clouds and hammers.
Yeah, I would say in the older flags when it couldn't be locks in World 8, right around now is, if you didn't have any, was basically, kind of sort of the jumping off point when you'd stop going for bros. But
yeah,
I certainly see valid arguments. If you don't have a hammer, especially playing until World 8. because
Right, and
it can. You can skip the entire world. We've seen that several times, skipping all of World 8.
Midi trying to take out the angry sun, just missed, but does pick up a raccoon tail.
I don't think he wanted that, but
Probably not, but yeah.
there's somewhat of a more recent change. We took the desert bro stage, and Macobra made it significantly more fair. It used to be just a solid block that if it was the regular hammer bros, they could clip into it, and you literally couldn't hit them without a hammer suit. So, really nice change there.
Yeah. We got a thick Ludwig in the World 4 airship, but no problem for Flyer. He takes him out at 2307.
Yep, Midi guy still hot on his heels though. He's executing most of the stages, as good as Highflyer has. Not really any chances for Divergent. They must not have. You can hear the secret bro. They must not hear bro movement in between stages. Interesting to note.
Yeah.
It could be a coin ship, which doesn't make sounds. So
Right. You can usually tell though. There's like if there's no delay, then you know there's nothing there.
oh, true, very true.
So Flyer leads off in World 1 with 7-4, another fairly long stage. Flyer's kind of taking his time. They're going for the star. He's like, nah, I'm out of here. So we got an anchor. And we got our second, we got our last one forwarder. So now we got route divergence here. Bottom or top. And Flyer went bottom route and gets 2-4. We'll see what Midi decides to do.
Couple of sledge bros in the middle. Probably the most unpredictable of the bros. They can really juke you out sometimes, and of course the the fort he doesn't go into with the P-Wing is 7-1. This power-up can be a tail. I timed it out. You save 2 seconds if it is, and you basically lose 4 if you don't. So as long as you have a tail in your inventory. They do have an anchor, which we have not seen that be used yet. You typically want to use that when it has the potential to be a cloud. Because that's another feels bad moment when you're at an airship or something and you use an anchor and it ends up being a cloud.
Yeah, it's and Midi sees it like, ah, he was, and he said he was putting a lot of stock into trying to go for those using those tails and whatever, but the one time he doesn't.
Yeah, interesting to note that you saw there, and you can see this in Dusk Minion put together a secret knowledge slideshow, which is very cool. Flyer's score, the tens point is a 3, and he had 33 coins, so he accidentally spawned a coin ship from the bro, which it's not a significant amount of time, but I mean, it is, an extra, I don't know.
It's a few seconds for sure.
Yeah, instead of playing the bro fight, so
right,
should be a little bit more time. There's another patented Flyer strat, grabbing the ice block and sliding under there. Very smooth. Haven't quite figured that one out yet.
That's like 2 movements that have to be pretty much done in sync with each other.
Yeah, very tricky. So
Right. So 6-2 done for Flyer. He's gonna have the just got the coin ship, and then it'll be on to either face off against Iggy or Roy in the World 3 or World 6 airships. So we'll see if Midi holds on to that tail, because especially with World 6, that could be valuable. There's our hammer.
All right. World 7, sometimes pretty good place to use it, but I don't know. We'll have to see what the layout looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where, you go for the short-term gain, great, but how much are you going to end up losing in the process?
Yeah, because 7 is one of those where it's like, if I can take one pipe transition and be at a fort, I'll play the fort in hopes that it's right. But as soon as you start, taking all these different pipes and, then you have to remember how to get back, it's like, sometimes it's just worth it to just hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of times.
And chat saying Anchor is Fireflower today.
Okay.
Oh! Okay, well...
Oh, okay.
That is a gamble.
Yeah, he's at the end, so oh man, Midi needs to find a cloud somewhere.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't think he's going to.
No. Oh, just regular Mario. Never mind. I think.
Ooh, 7-8 after really good star usage.
Okay, it was a Firefly. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be all right. Well, both runners choosing a hammer, even though both forts are right there. Interesting.
That is an interesting play. I mean, they still got two more chances at an item here. So, but between Piranha and whatever Bowser decides to gift them, but well, we still also have 1-3, 3-7, and 5-1, I suppose. But
hand stages as well. Have we seen one?
We've seen a hand stage. I think it was a star. Speaking of stars,
just tons of stars this seed all over the place.
And maybe he wasn't wrong going for the cloud on 5-3. That's a fairly long stage, but this is about 20 seconds longer. So it's just one of those gambles.
Yeah, he had the incentive when Flyer went into 5-3. He was big, at least, so he didn't really have as big of an incentive to take the death. Midi was small, so it was just quick, quick decision. Unfortunately, it's Lena having to play Atlantis.
Yeah.
And the bros at the end can be changed too, so that's a pretty harrowing spot as well.
Yeah, 30-25 for Flyer. So he's looking at about a 35 to 37 minute seed, I'd say. Depends on how nasty World 8 decides to be.
Yep. Check your inventory, see if you got a hammer.
2 forts up front and 2 pipes. Well, that kind of forced the issue.
Yeah, that's not great for Midi guy.
No.
Flyer still not checking his inventory. You don't get an item after the World 7 letter in vanilla, but you do in rando. It could be a hammer.
Right. I think in his mind right now he's more interested in overworld intelligence at this stage, because that's why he went with the fort tile. I think he wants to see what's behind the pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, another lock.
So now he'll go back to that first pipe to see if that broke the lock, and if not, I imagine he'll play the Air Force after that if it didn't.
Right. Oh,
Okay.
wow. So 2 locks and
Yeah.
whatever A fort broke. Speaking of A fort,
Nice fire kill on Midi's side. All right, so yeah, this is going to be decently linear at this point. The only other way was to just play a level. I don't see MidiGuy doing that, so really hard to make up some time here.
he's about 2 minutes back at this point. But
Music box was the item.
yeah. So he's
Oh,
leading
he
off
just-
with 8.
Yeah. So this is really one of the only ways he can save time is if this breaks this lock right here in the beginning, and he doesn't have to go back to play that for, which it does.
Pipe running along the side here. Useless.
Both getting the 1 cycle and 8 for it. Very nice.
Alright, so Flyer doing some recon there. Oh, wow.
Well, oh man, Midi, if he would have turned around, he could have caught him at this point, because I don't think, unless, well, that this fort could have done something on the final screen.
It could have been a lock, yeah. So, but either way, turns out the World 7 gamble was probably correct.
Yeah. Yep, 1 hammer and basically the most optimal place to use it.
Who knew? 34 minutes down to Bowser. Nice. Hammer kill. And that will do it. So Flyer will take the first of this 2-game set.
Yep. Really, really friendly World 8. Not bad at all.
Yeah. Clocks with an official race time of 34:20. Midi sees the answer, and yeah, it's like just a couple of like little things here. I mean, even the thing with Atlantis, what I think really hurt Midi was that death in the tower. That really was an unfortunate setback.
Yep, the death in the tower, and then he had another death to the bros at one point.
Right. Just little things kind of adding up there.
Yeah, Midi has notoriously said before that he has awful starts to his races, so it's probably dialed in at this point.
Yeah, and it can take a few minutes to kind of get going, and if you have bad levels to start with, or levels where you really can't get into a rhythm, that does have a tendency to throw you off your edge a little bit. But still, a very fine race by Midi, as he will clock in with an official race time of 35:31. So 1 down, 1 to go. As Flyer moves to 3-0, Midi will look to try and get one back here. We'll start game 2 in a few minutes. So stay tuned and start thinking about what the first world will be, chat.
Yep, be back in a minute. Okay, welcome back, everybody, to race 2 of this really high-level matchup we have here. As we said before, Highflyer was the runner-up last year, and Midiguy has taken third twice and has been in the mix several times in the last few tournaments. Really, really solid execution by both the runners. Highflyer just most of his power-ups were correct in most of the stages. He nailed almost all the P-speed strats. Midiguy just unfortunately had a death in the Twisty Tower, and then he took one to the Bro. He took his cloud in a different place as well. He chose to skip 3-5 or 7-5 that split, or 5-3 and 7-5 split over Atlantis. So that lost him a little bit of time as well. And that was basically the time difference. So really, really high level execution from both the runners. So really looking forward to seeing what happens in this one. Some interesting decision in World 8 as well, or World 7. They both hammered there. Turned out to be the correct play. So, you know.
Yeah, there were 2/4 up front, and then the lock off to the side there behind a pipe, and they both went straight for it. And the reason they did that is that lock number 2 was also visible. I think if both locks were not visible, they might have hedged. They might have played one. But the fact that they didn't, that actually, more I think about that, was a very astute move on their part, because they saw, both locks were there. Like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're talking like, 7F2 in there as well, they hadn't seen that yet. That's a really long fort to skip.
Yeah.
Some other forts in general are just longer than stages because of the boom boom fight and the orb, and then counting down the score, and then the lock breaking. So it's a pretty decent time skip. And well, we have a fairly easy World 1 to figure out, but it's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
Longer, at least.
We lead off with 2 fort. Both runners Flyer had his head turned the wrong way, so he'll have to play this out normally. Nice dodge there.
Yep, interesting that neither runner used a power-up going into the fort either.
Yeah.
Don't need it, but...
All right,
okay.
So...
potential 1 fort skip in that other spot, since that lock is not required for anything other than access to the Toad House. First hand stage.
Well,
man.
nothing else. They've got their suit for Bowser, so that's always nice to have early on. We got 4-2. We got Cheap and Boss Bass, making the rounds down there.
Yep, Midiguy was fully powered up. Ooh, nice upper decker in that pipe.
Yeah.
8-1. Pretty tricky level for any level of runner. One of my least favorite stages as well.
Yeah, we've definitely flattened some of the issues with this stage overall, but it's still. Oh no, Midi lost his P speed.
Yep, got caught in between going for the jump and going for the note block, and lost P speed, so didn't make either. And oh boy, tricky power up to get there.
MIDI, now this is starting to get dangerous for him because this is the kind of situation where you don't want to get tilted. And 2 deaths in one stage, especially for a player like MIDI, like you don't want panic to start creeping in because that's when things really go haywire. Then you end up trying to go for things that you really shouldn't be doing.
Yep, will be interesting to see if this changes his routing at all. He's obviously going to feel behind.
Mm-hmm.
And also begs the question, is he even going to have the chance to really choose anything different for a while?
Right. So 306 for Flyer.
All right, World 4. Another fairly linear stage, it looks like, or a world, it looks like.
38 seconds difference between our runners through World 1.
Not too bad. Obviously not what MidiguyDP wants, but...
No. At least one of those deaths was fairly early in the stage, so he doesn't lose too much time in that respect. But yeah, it's definitely less than ideal, but you just got to power through and hope. You don't want to be gambling or expecting that, but he's going to need probably an unforced error by Flyer here. Almost did it again.
Yep, it was a good save. He was definitely going to be short on that second long jump, so...
Yeah. You want to be aggressive in these situations, but you have to kind of temper it as best you can so you don't make a mistake like that, because especially now you really can't afford any. There's a star, all right, so
trend continues.
Yep. Not just my seat either. And we got another hammer suit coming our way. So they're going to be rich in abundance with them, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'd really start considering using them for forts and airships. Of course, with my luck, as in my first week, trying to use hammer suits like that, and I found like 7F1, so it's like, well, goodbye hammer suit, or, stuff like that.
That's the way it always goes. Now, here's one thing, we talked in game 1 about, the more liberal, play with the Hammer Bros. MIDI might start skipping a couple of these guys if they're not forced in his path just to save some time, whereas Flyer might be more, willing to play along with these.
Very true. He's not going to want to skip that one, though.
No.
He might, he's going to skip that coin ship, which was nothing, really, so...
Right, so it's those kinds of things that are going to help MIDI stay in range here, and yeah, he gets his cloud, so he's happy.
Yep, same airship, right back in it.
So, we're vanilla on the Koopa Kids so far. We went from Larry to Morton. So all of a sudden, it's only a 13-second difference. That extra coin ship is the reason.
$147 so far.
Okay, so
another star from Princess.
linear draw to start. And this is a triple forter.
Okay, so potentially good for MidiguyDP, depending on where he goes, to make up even more time, but no, there's a hammer.
We saw hammer use in World 7 in Game 1. This could be huge, depending on where and how they use this.
Yeah, I mean, if I can skip 3 forts and a bunch of pipe searches, and it's early in the seed, so lots of potential for another hammer, I'm probably going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also that 1 fort right there, so I could also see, playing that one, seeing what it does, or playing this one, seeing what it does.
Yeah.
Midi finding the route.
Yeah, that's huge. That
Highflyer, the far, the far pipe strat, not working out for him there, and there goes the hammer suit.
Yeah, and Flyer decided to play 7F1 just out of, I think, curiosity, but takes the 100-coin fine, but okay, so he's got his tail, so
He needs
he's holding
he needs this fort to be the answer, otherwise I don't know if he'll hammer after if it's not. I don't know. Flyer luck, so of course it'll be the answer.
well, 847 for Midi. That's the first time he's had the lead at the end of a world so far today.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Right. So that was just flat out time loss there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's really good news for Midi. We got now this is interesting.
Yeah, he's gonna loop. Check it. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Free recon and alright, so
okay.
Yeah. Well, that in and of itself
easy.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That works out pretty well for him.
Yep. Some more hidden knowledge. In Rando, when it's 2 forts, the blue fort always breaks the lock. So just a quick pipe transition, quick fort, and then they're on our way. I think they had 1 more level up top, 1 or 2, and then
yeah.
Be interesting to see what Midi does, because I mean, I'm sure he thought he was behind before, and is he going to play the whole seed like that?
Well, I think with what he saw, like he figured. I think that was somewhat, I want to say, born out of desperation, but it's like, I need to do this. I need something, just to kind of wash off that stench of 8-1. We actually got 5-8 in vanilla 5-8 locations, so that's a fret if I've ever seen one.
Flyer clawing back a little bit of time, not checking the paradox pipe first, and he just went into the fort. Midi skip the bro up top for now. It's gonna go back. Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately, does not get anything for his trouble. Flyer's just going to play it outright. So, well, they have a cloud, and Midi is gonna.
It's gonna happen again.
I thought he was, but either he changed his mind or that was just bad luck with the platforming. Either way, and.
Yeah, I agree with playing this. I mean, it is a longer level, but you got you got a lot of opportunities to use that cloud. The enemy set didn't look horrible. He's powered up. You might as well just slog through it.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, though, that Flyer has definitely closed the distance a little bit with just some of his routing decisions overworld and just his play in general.
And if he can maintain this, which he should be able to here, he's going to catch up. Oh, nope, he lost it.
So yeah, World 3 airship.
Fast seed so far.
And that's with a triple forwarder in the mix. Usually a triple fort world kind of grinds things to a halt, but here we got a 12-24 at halftime. That's very, very good. Another cloud.
Yeah.
Well, forced draw here with the lock.
About a 30-second difference on the nose between the runners when they grab the wand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Nice by Midi to put the brakes on there.
Yeah. All right, so Flyer taking a hit there to the boo.
Boo, kind of tricky to get over. You have to jump basically at the last point that you can to get over him cleanly.
Yeah. Flyer also missed the world famous pole vault jump. He ran into the piranha there. And this actually wouldn't have been a bad place to use two clouds to get a free, pipe transition. But Midi's
Yeah, I
gonna hold off.
really consider using one here.
Yeah.
They do have pretty good world opportunity to use the Cloud 6. There's a lot of opportunities to use them there.
Mm-hmm. Flyer's got an abundance of items here. There's the cloud, yeah. So still got one left. Got to go through 4 more stages, and this would have been a good place to use a hammer, I suppose. That's 4 stages. 3 stages. You're basically giving out, but such as it is.
I think Flyer will play this level. Like I said, he's a little more conserved with his clouds, and this is a pretty good level to cloud, especially if this isn't a tail, which is not. Not gonna go. Is gonna go for the P speed strat.
He's went for the pipe clip in 7-7, didn't get it, and is just going to carry on now.
Yeah, that P-speed strat really cutting down the length of that level. Still a pretty good cloud level, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good one for sure. So Flyer going to play 5-7 now.
Especially since there's, obviously more opportunities to get more clouds. So, like we said before, as long as you're using them before the end.
3-8 for Midi. He went top route to follow the hammer bro.
Good star use. Horrible arena with those bros.
Yeah. There's another hammer.
Alright, since he has a hammer, will we see him play the hidden bro if there is one? Doesn't look like it. Well, here's well, Midi's going to be down a cloud again. Flyer will definitely cloud this, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So, given what happened in the last seed, I think Midi's definitely going to hope Toadstool gives him a cloud here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just a one-hitter quitter on Ludwig at the World 1 airship.
Unfortunate for Flyer, he's likely going to have the fire suit here and have to damage out of it.
Yeah, never a good feeling. Just a leaf. So lock already there. No forts visible. Hmm.
Ooh.
It's about a 1 minute difference between our runners through World 5. Midi holding the aces at the moment, but a lot of game left to be played.
Yep, still down a cloud.
It's down to Cloud, but he's used them both of his clouds in pretty good situations.
Yep.
Even with Flyer, played 7-2, but he had to kind of take the long way to get there. And we see a fort off to the side here, double forts. Okay, so this actually works out pretty well for Midi, I'd say.
Yeah, he can. The lock is right there, so he can go back and check to see after this. And then it looks like this is going to be a pretty long world, though, depending on where the. There's a pipe in its vanilla location up by where that bridge is made, I believe, and then
Yeah.
it'll depend on where the fourth one is.
Right, and and either way, it's not gonna. It doesn't seem it's going to be a very significant time save. So answer. All right, so
Right.
that's a nice reprieve.
Don't do it, Flyer.
Oh no 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 no!
Oops.
And another.
There's a cloud too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
there's potential that there's not a place to use a hammer the rest of the seed. Not likely, but
especially with World 3 still in play. You usually get good value for your money off of that alone. But yeah, this is really unfortunate for Flyer.
yep, just must have not seen that pipe there.
Hmm.
Okay, so 2 more levels, and then that pipe should take them to the end.
Yeah. And if Midi gets another hammer here, no, okay, I was like, maybe break the boulder and do a double there and just clear out bypass the level and
Midi is so fortunate he got another cloud here.
yeah, cloud or hammer. Yeah, so.
All right, what? No, don't use the frog suit. Okay,
No.
all right. There's a number of levels where having the frog suit could have been very bad in this situation, but okay.
Well, he's got to be careful because.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Another hammer suit.
Well, if they didn't have enough of those. See what. Ooh, Flyer is ignoring the Hammer Bros. So that actually levels them out on the clouds.
Yep, he'll have a tail for the airship too, so he should even it out pretty decently here. Midi's still up that hammer though, so
yeah, that could be huge. I mean, again, we got World 3 and we've got World 8 in play, and those are very hammerable levels. And so that just leaves, I believe, World 7 airship and Lemmy. Ooh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so...
man. I think you probably take the pipe, and it's definitely less levels to go the other way. Well, it's potentially the yeah, no, it's 3 levels and a fort this way. Oh no, it's a fort and 2 levels, and it's 1 potentially 2 or 3 the other way. So I'd probably go the other way, because that pipe that you see will either take you to the end or take you over to where you need to be. But this is also you know, they're going for the odds here. They see 2 pipes this way, which if they loop, which it tends to do a lot.
Yeah, this is definitely a calculated risk. MIDI is going for it, though. We'll see if what Flyer decides to do.
Pretty good world layout for Flyer, though, not having that hammer. I mean, if that pipe just took him, you know, to the end, and that first fort wasn't the answer, he would have been in real trouble there.
First fort was the correct answer, as far as we know, based on the intelligence we have. Still could be a couple of things, but yeah, this is almost certainly the correct answer. And MIDI's now in 3-1, and Flyer's kind of having a little trouble here. Getting his speed up, he's getting just stonewalled.
Yeah, I guarantee he's still thinking about that hammer in 6.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that an unfortunate oversight on his part. Flyer's actually got it.
Nice blind frog suit.
Yeah, you'd love to see it. You know, like getting a blind P-wing, you get 5-1. It's like, oh, of course I'll take that item. Straight shot to the finish for MIDI. Again, holding the lead and an extra hammer. Hammer didn't really pay off in game 1, but got a pretty good potential here.
Yeah, the interesting about this is if Toadstool doesn't give a hammer, Flyer will probably lean towards, you know, see a fort, play a fort, whereas I think MIDI will probably explore more, so that could, you know, potentially work out in Highflyer's favor if that's the case, if it's a bridge that's out at the end.
Right, possibly. It is going to be somewhat dependent on the layout, but, you know, we saw 2 forts on the screen in game 1 right off the bat, 2 pipes and 2 forts. So we got 25-27 for MIDI. Flyer takes care of business and gets his one at 25-52. All right, so
okay.
So
personally, I wouldn't have even checked that tank, but
yeah.
All right, going so pipe 2. Oh boy.
You know, I like the alternative thinking.
Oh,
and
okay.
Oh wow.
Flyer is in trouble.
Flyer, I think this is completely lost, unfortunately, because this only one lock. That's it. So we're gonna have.
It's too bad too, because I mean, if it wasn't for that, you know, hammer error, if this would have been very, very close.
Yeah, that ultimately was the undoing, and Flyer, I think, maybe just thinking probably about a half step too far ahead, and yeah, so unfortunately, you know, MIDI is going to. Fortunately for MIDI, he will split this match and move to 3-1. As
sub 29 likely as well.
So 28 maybe. I mean, if he gets a clean clip, yeah, this should be a pretty easy. All right, well.
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
So MIDI is going to split the split the uprights here, and take game 2. Bowser goes
Wow.
down. And
I guarantee you, he's like, I died in 8-1 several times, or a couple times.
Right.
He's probably a little surprised here, but I mean, he executed very well after that.
Yeah.
Played the right things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a
Hammered appropriately.
couple of those extra items definitely paid off for him, and 27:53 official race time for Midiguy, and unfortunately, Flyer is gonna have to do the gauntlet here.
Yeah, I saw a fort locked by a lock as well. So
Yeah. Flyer.
if this fort isn't it, it's going to be a pretty long World 8 to not have a hammer for.
Yeah, no kidding. Like this is. We talk about the importance of the hand. Oh no!
Here comes the FF.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, he's still going. According to the race chat, he is still going. So, we're gonna let him play this out, and even with a long World 8, this still gonna end up being like a 33-34 at worst, and that's something to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Gonna get our game 2 winner in for an interview in a minute. Flyer's just gonna take the D boost. And we are joined by our game 2 winner, MidiguyDP with GG.
GG. That second one, I thought I might have been behind for a good portion of that with the start I had, but the end was friendly.
8-1 didn't exactly treat you very well, but then a lot of things just started clicking in place, and you got an extra cloud, and your hammer use was a little more judicious. That was ultimately what swung it. Flyer kind of had one of those look before you leap moments in World 6. He blind hammered the spot in the corner, and unfortunately, yeah, that didn't pay off. So he was down a hammer, and you had, about as good a position as you could ask for.
Yeah, the only thing I forgot to do was check the anchor to see what that was, because if that was a cloud, I could have made World 8 completely free.
Yeah,
but I forgot about that.
And Flyer got zapped by the statue. He did kick out the fireball, so
Not a bad World 8, even though he had to play a little bit more. I thought it was going to be much longer than that.
Yeah, Air Force was actually the correct answer. And that was actually a pretty easy reach.
Yeah, the first seed, too, there was a lot of tough decisions to make on that overall. The lay of the land was tricky upon first glance. And you clouded on 5-3, and no fault there. You just ended up having to play Atlantis. He didn't. That's where it made the difference there.
Yeah,
it certainly is.
Yeah, you had a death in Twisty as well, and that was basically the time difference. You playing Atlantis and that one death.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. I was I sort of just clicked on that sky part of Twisty, the halfway part. It was like, actually, doesn't peace be done like this? I'm gonna try it, and then I just pressed the button just a little too late. So I just sailed right into the hole.
Yeah, the other thing we was going to mention with Game 2 is World 7, you just went and hammered that thing right away, and Flyer actually played the fort on the island. It was Fort Knox, incidentally, and it didn't break the locks, so he ended up having to hammer anyway. But he played an extra stage ultimately for nothing.
Twice, basically, because,
Twice,
1.5 times, because he went through hoping that the box would be a tail, and it wasn't, so he had to take the death and then use the tail.
Right.
That's what put you back in the lead from being down early from 8-1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just
gotcha.
Kept it from there. Just played really, really well, made good decisions from there.
Yeah, that was basic. Game 1 was basically wire to wire for him, and Game 2, after that start, I think from World 7 on, you pretty much had it and never let go.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Only the start what felt bad. The rest felt like I don't think anything really went wrong overall, and I
Yeah.
felt real good about after that World 3 especially because I was going towards where there was two pipes. They could have very well led into each other, so that was I realized that was definitely a gamble. Though that other pipe, if I recall correctly, was pretty out of the way regardless of which way you went. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go this way and hope for the best. And sure enough, straight to Wendy.
Yeah. No, that played out pretty well for you, and yeah, Flyer did the same thing. So yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a calculated risk, but it was one that I think would have had a favorable outcome because there were two pipes there. So worst case scenario, you end up having to play an extra stage or two at worst.
Yeah. Yeah, the risk probably wouldn't have cost me too much in the end, but it's definitely did work out, that's for sure.
So
I kind of laughed out loud when I went into 7-5 and then straight after like 5-3. I was like, well, alright, I think I'll just use my cloud here. That was a funny time.
And we are joined by our Game 1 winner, Highflyer28, GG.
Thank you, GG.
So I'm sure you can sort of deduce what happened in the second game.
Yeah, I can't stay for too long. I know exactly what happened. I just zoned out, completely missed the other pipe, and yeah, as soon as I saw the valley, I knew I lost. So yeah, it is what it is. My hand hurts now from banging on my desks a few times. So Miniguy, was great racing you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for everybody on comms. And just wanted to also say, just play fair, and I'll see you on the next one. Laters.
All right, later. Thanks. Yeah, and so Midi, yeah, I'm sure this is one of those situations where could have been 2-0 either way, split. Are you happy walking away with the split?
I'd say so. It's because, like, especially in these last 2 years, Highflyer has improved tremendously.
Yes.
From when he started out overall, and lately too, it's been like usually wire to wire between him and me. And though lately, I think he's been taking more W's off of me than otherwise. So it was nice to get one, that's for sure. And I'm quite happy with the 1-1.
Yeah, these kinds of high-profile matchups. When we saw it last week with Teeks and Stewie, both of them got a W out of that one, and you like to see that because you like to see two players really just throwing everything they got, and that being the result.
When it comes to competitive as long as it's close, I'm usually happy regardless of which side.
Right.
It's nice to take a win for sure, but when it's close, I couldn't ask for more when that happens.
Right.
Yeah, someone just out executes me. That's one thing. I'm still not happy if I lose, but it's much easier pill to swallow than when you make a routing mistake or take a bunch of deaths in a level. But very entertaining matches between you guys. Very well done.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to just seeing just how close it was.
Yeah, I mean, when I got my splits here, and it was 25 seconds by my count going into World 8. But yeah, the hammer was ultimately the difference for sure.
Yeah, when I saw that layout, I'm like, oh boy, the planets are aligning. They are aligning here.
Yeah. You break 28 on these controls because some of these seats can go easily high 30s, low 40s if they really want to get you.
Yeah, for sure. On that first one, that was one heck of a slog. We had a lot of levels to play, and there was not much we can do to get past it because, jeez, did we get any hammers on the first one? I think we did, but only at the end. Yeah, only at the end.
At the end, yeah.
And I was checking bros like crazy too. I might have skipped one. I can't remember. I know the second seed I skipped a few, but the first one I don't think I did.
Yeah, that was actually fortuitous in game 2 because there was that coin ship. Flyer had to play it. You skipped it, and it was ultimately for nothing. But you got that cloud anyways because it was a forced draw. So it was also those little optimizations where the seed was giving you, I think, a little bit more of a bone on some of that stuff than him.
Indeed. Rando does what Rando does best at that point.
we we wouldn't have it any other way. But
Oh, no.
again, GG's Midi, and good luck in your next matches.
Many thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Yep. GG's.
Jeez. All right. Well, before we wrap this up, we've got just a quick announcement on some of the other matches we have going tonight. At 8:30 on SG4, we have Neo Nonane and Alsoa. 9 o'clock, channel is TBD, but we have Moonlit Angel and Windfox. Also, we got a couple other matches at 9 o'clock. I think we're going to have a quad on one of these for sure, but we also have Leslie Pro 04 and Jay Coper, and Mrs. Malchior and Truant Gamer. And then at 10 p.m., I think this will be another quad. We have Special K versus Yumi, and Mirai and Crimson Avix.
Yep, that's
What's going on?
a lot of Zelda runners there and a Zelda 2 runner. Jay Coper Leslie Pro should be a battle. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, a couple of players who've been, I believe, in every tournament to date, going all the way back to 2018. So that's always a treat.
Yep. Indeed. Tons of Mario 3 in the coming weeks, and today especially.
Indeed. And we got plenty more coming up in the next 3 to 4 days. We've got 3 matches scheduled for tomorrow and a couple on Thursday, and then I think we have 6 or 7 on Friday. So there's going to be a lot of Mario 3 Rando to come.
Indeed. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks all for watching. And again, 8:30 on SG4. We will run it back with Neo Nanane versus Alsoa, which should be a very entertaining evening. So have a good night, all.
See y'all there. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.